Welcome back to List Cloggers. How exciting, Daniel. Grand final show. It doesn't get much bigger than this, my friend.
Mate, it's the big one. It's a big one. We've waited all year, and it's been a long year, but we're finally here. We've had hubs. We've had tears. I've been stuck with you in this new podcast for a bit, but we're here, mate, the big dance, and everyone's really looking forward for the big weekend.
Yeah, they are. How are you feeling about it all with the big week? Actually, mate, to be honest, no one cares because I'll tell you what, we've got a very big guest on with the show this week who's an absolute huge guest.
Always big.
And
I tell you
this
what,
man is...
Grand final, you get the big dogs in, don't you?
We've really outdone ourselves. Like, we've never had a guest, but to get this guy on it's an honour, it's a pleasure, it's a blessing, and I'm a bit starstruck, to be honest.
Yeah, how'd you go saying that with a straight face, mate? Was that you called me a big guest and you both laughed? So that was an internal joke about how fat I am. I get that. Ha ha ha. Yeah, you're right. Thanks very much for having me. No, I'm glad to be here, guys.
You've just made history. You're the first ever guest. No, producer Sam's here, but he's not a guest. He's just, he's like something in the corner. You're the first guest, mate. So it's a huge honour. We're very, very lucky to have you, mate. So thank you for jumping on.
Well, Dill did just ring me saying there's an order on the way.
As you know, we've actually just ordered a slab to your house, mate. It's Jim Beam because they are one of the best sponsors in the business, and they've jumped on with us. But we do love Jim Beam, and I've just ordered a slab to your house, my friend, because you are a guest. And
Did you know at school in year 12, I was already on a footy list, so I had an allowance of I think it was $60 a week from my manager, and that $60 went to a box of Jim Beam to take to the party every weekend.
That's huge.
And it was the only drink I could stomach. The only thing.
So you're telling me basically by drinking those Jim Beams, it's got you to where you are today.
Yeah, you're right. Sitting in Perth with a wife that wants to leave me, but she's 40 weeks pregnant, so she's wedged at the moment.
Dan, speaking of Jim Beam, this is just a complete coincidence that this has just happened.
It is.
And
Massive.
I can't believe it.
Massive
but
coincidence.
Isn't there a competition going on at the moment that you are working with Jim Beam?
You won't believe this. We've somehow, Jim Beam, and we love the people at Jim Beam, and they do make the mother's milk that we're talking about. They are running a competition. They're giving away the tiny steel houses. Now, if you haven't been to a pub or bar in Victoria, which no one has been for a while, how about if you have one in your backyard?
Oh, right.
If you have one in the backyard and you can win it, okay, X. So I know you like a Jim Beam, and you could enter the competition, and we could be shifting one to your backyard. Then you could have endless limits of Jim Beam, mate. So the entry is very simple for everyone out there. Xavier, I know you're listening. Everyone else there listening. If you want to enter, jump on the competition website. There's a link. We'll get a link in the List Cloggers podcast bio. Jump in there. Tell them in 25 words or less why you deserve to win it. So it's a great prize there, and I know I've entered a couple of times. Deal?
Yeah. It's before we move on, sorry, Dill, can I just interject? Guys, I've done a couple of things with you, and the first few times I did some stuff with you, it was with the biggest bullshit mic I've ever seen in my life. You were the boundary rider. Now look at you. You've grown into a professional.
Thanks, mate. You know what? We were sweated last week. I was still a very big amateur last week. I've only just found the clip, so I'm coming good, mate. About 2 months in, we're finally back. So thank you for the compliment. I'm finding my way into the box and not the boundary line anymore, so it's good.
No more dipper.
No more dipper. I sometimes wander down there when I'm needed, but when it's rainy, we make our way out of the box.
Guys, can I just quickly interrupt there just before we get into the show properly?
This will be great.
We both love Xavier Ellis, right?
Yes,
and you've just called him, I'm 99% sure you called him Xavier then, and you've known him for about 6 months. So just to clarify, his name is Xavier. Sammy, roll the music.
Buckley kicked one from 50 last week and he's missed the start. He's celebrating a point.
Jackie Chan returns. Gorringe just kicked it.
As we said, ladies and gentlemen, it's the grand final show. It honestly doesn't get much bigger than this. As we said in the intro, Xavier Ellis is here, one-time premiership player for Hawthorn Football Club. Should have been a Norm Smith medalist. We've got Daniel Gorringe, who played about 11 games.
Oh, mate, keep going.
Also dominated
keep
South
going.
Africa once in a AIS competition. Probably the best international player we have in the podcast.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
And then it's just myself, and I haven't done too much at all. But Xavier, again, welcome to the show, boys. How are we feeling, Xavier? I want to ask you because it is grand final time. You are comfortable in this space. What's going through your head? What would be going through the heads of the players lining up today?
Mate,
on the weekend per se.
It's funny. This time of week is probably like the most I reckon you're really nervous and anxious all prelim final week because you know you're literally one game away from a dream that you've had as a kid to play in a grand final. Everyone watches them, da-da-da. Early in this week, there's no real anxiety. It's just joy. Like you've literally got, your family that are all excited. You got supporters at training. I think we used to have about, at West Coast especially, 20-odd thousand that would turn up to training. Just excitement more than anything. The anxiety of the prelim week is past. I mean, I used to get nervous. I was lucky enough playing a few. Only about an hour before a game, but prior to that, it was usually just real excitement because obviously you got the parade that's on the Friday, which is exciting, and you can't be nervous around that sort of stuff. So after that, you probably fall into a bit more of a seriousness mode. But you're organising tickets. If you play in WA and you make a grand final, you literally just go broke. So like you still got to buy tickets for everyone and. Like Virgin and stuff who are sponsors of the AFL, like they don't give you a discount. So you're literally buying a plane to fly over. So I went into a grand final for West Coast and came home broke. So that was a successful journey for me. But this week, mate, it's the top end of Australian sport. And I'm super envious of those guys now. You sort of start to think you're the ones that you missed out on.
Oh, mate, you do. And Daniel and myself, look, we never got too close to playing in grand finals, and when I say too close, not close at all. I was lucky enough last year to be on the list when the Giants made the grand final. Obviously went down to Richmond by I think it was 1 or 2 points, but it was obviously a highlight of mine in my career. I love this time of year. Dan, you're normally on footy trip this time of year. What's your memories of grand final day?
Most grand final days, mate, I'm probably in Bali or Vegas. Probably poolside.
What would you rather?
Oh, mate. Oh, yeah, Vegas. Premierships are great, mate, but there's nothing better than 7 days in Vegas, I think, you're
right. But if you do play in one and win it, then the AFL literally pay for you to go to Vegas in a signing session.
Yeah, you make a good point
He's got you on the
so I'd rather win one than go to Vegas. So, but
boys, let me just flag this at the start of the show because it's not a normal show. Xavier is obviously the host of It's Time for a Beer podcast, one of the premium top podcasts in Australia. And quickly, Xav, give us a plug. Who have you got on this week? I know you've had on Dale Thomas of late. You have to redo that one.
Yeah,
you've had Bo
Waters.
Who is pound for pound one of the toughest blokes I've ever seen in my life.
So, mate, he told a story yesterday and he got inducted to as a life member to West Coast last night. So, I missed out on that scoop. But he told a story about how he got hit by a taxi in his second year. The taxi sent him 60 metres. That was prime time West Coast, early days.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a bloody good bloke. But, even how he tried to punch on with Barry Hall, he was 20 years old when he knocked out Staker. All the old boys ran and hid behind the bloody fence and Bowie Waters, who would rather a fight than a feed, tried to fight Barry Hall after that knockout. So he's a ripper. But you're right, mate. I'm literally just doing it, following in your footsteps more than anything else and copying you guys at the moment.
No, not at all. Dan is the new pioneer of the podcast at the moment too. He's new to it. As you've seen, he's got the mic now and he's feeling,
mate.
Well,
I love it.
Good.
I don't know what's going on, to be honest. I just rock up every week, which is great. It appears to be working.
If that. Can we have a bit... Can you, be a leading teams for us tonight? We're a bit bickering at the moment. We're 3 episodes in and we're already starting to have some
it's you, mate.
Form.
Something.
No, already I'm going to have to interject. Sorry, as a leading teams member...
Blame.
Guys, mate, you're just directing everything towards Dill going, it's you, not me. It's probably the opposite to what leading teams are trying to do. And their whole thing is not about blaming everyone else.
I can't perform A-grade comedy and material with his D-grade attitude.
Okay, it's an attitude issue. And I just saw Dill raise his eyes to heaven.
Yeah,
that's an issue.
Yeah.
That is an issue. That is the... Oh, my God, I'm always right. That was an eye roll. You two have got issues at the moment.
No, we don't.
He's got to see physio, get an attitude adjustment.
We're fine. It's just dealing with children at the moment. But
child.
look, I'm used to it. I've actually got sore shoulders from carrying him for the last sort of 2 years anyway. So, boys, one man we love on the List Cloggers program is a man that we've known before. We've come to see and love. He's been a factor of things that we've come across, and he's obviously the best impersonator of our time. He's incredible. This bloke, honestly, I get stitches every time I hang out with him, and he's come to see us. He's come to hang out with us. He's a List Clogger at heart too, but his name is Elliot Loney. Welcome, Elliot Loney.
Oh, guys, it's great to be here. As always, just an honour to be in the presence of three such illustrious heads.
Mate, it's a big week. Daniel has been wondering. Dan, do you want to ask Elliot? I know you're a little bit shy and you love Elliot a lot. Do you want to ask him about his grand final tips?
Yes, you've hit it right in the head there, mate. I am very shy, mate. I've been a big fan for a long time. It's our first real encounter, mate. But obviously the big week coming up. Love to, get an insight of what you're thinking, what will happen this weekend. Winner, Norm Smith, all the rest.
Yeah, look, I'm not an expert like you fellas, but look, I do love me footy, and I got to say, I was a diehard Fitzroy supporter as a kid, and Richmond absolutely flogged us in our last ever game. Don't know if you guys remember that, but I never really got over it. And, I know Richmond are a phenomenal side, but I'm really hoping the Cats get the job done. So I've tipped the Cats. Norm Smith, Dustin Martin, his big game player, we all know that. I think he's probably going to step up. So there you go.
Elliot, there is another reason that we've got you on today, and you're a very busy man this time of year because there is a few of your personas that really come to fruition and one that I really love. But what we were hoping you could do, because, Dan and myself have never played in a grand final, but obviously we've got Xavier here. Is it possible to give us a bit of a Bruce McAvaney play of Xavier, Dan and myself on grand final day?
Yeah, absolutely. 1 second. Let me just go see if Bruce is here.
Oh, this shit doesn't get old, does it?
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, Bruce McAvaney coming at you right now live. And to love these three heads. I mean, Dylan Buckley, look at his heads. I mean, it's just so delicious and formidable. His eyes are slightly too far apart, but that's fine. We love that. And Xavier Ellis, look at him, the way he's chuckling. He's got 4 eyes, but God, I love him with just me 2. And have a look at Daniel Gorringe with that beanie. We can't see his forehead, but we know it's formidable, don't we? And I just love these 3 boys so very much. And if they were out to play in the grand final, I think looking at someone like Dill Buckley, a real whippet, a real quick inside 2-way running man, he'd just get that Sheridan, he'd just extract it, and he'd just do so much creativity with the Sheridan, and he'd just hand it off to Xavier Ellis, and he'd be cherry picking around the goals. I know Xavier. And Xavier just snap a huge banana right through the sticks. And obviously we got Dan Gorringe, and he'd be tapping it down to the mitts of both Xavier and Dylan throughout the entire game. It'd be so delicious, so illustrious. And I think if I was watching those 3 players in the grand final, I think that's probably something that they'd all be doing. And it's a shame they're not doing it, but if they were, I would get an absolute stiffy, no doubts about it.
Oh, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, mate. We've got another one. Now, Dill's a massive fan of Mr. Parker, and we're wondering, if Mr. Parker was out there coaching 3/4 time, Geelong are down, and the Stars, Danger, Selwood and Hawkins have been down, what would Mr. Parker be saying in that huddle?
To the Cats?
To the Cats.
All right, let me go get him.
I reckon they need a lift, don't they, those 3?
They've been shit out, to be honest, those 3 all day, and they need to lift. Just keep in mind, the last time that Elliot did Mr. Parker, I had a slip disc in my back, and I swear I nearly got paralysed from laughing too hard.
Can you imagine that, going for workers' comp? I was laughing at Mr. Parker, and I pinched my disc, and you have to jump on YouTube to find out what I'm talking about.
Literally. There we go. Mr. Parker.
All right, let's chat on my inner Parker. Hang on a second. I always feel so strange doing this without the filter. I've got to say, it makes a big difference.
I love it. All right.
Now, boys, I don't know what to say to you, boys. I just don't. I really have nothing to say. Yeah, nothing at all. That's what I would say. If we weren't in and amongst it, in one of the biggest fucking dances in the whole of the fucking world, you boys really need to pull your fucking fingers out. Work harder, run faster, get in the guts, fucking grab that Sheridan, win those hardball gets. This is as big as it gets. As big as it gets, Joel. Get a fucking black eye right now, mate. For Christ's sake, grab that Sheridan. Now's the time to get a shiny, you bastard. Oh, what are you doing, Gary? Hiding in the corner there? Oh, yeah, fuck. Lift your game, Gaz. You're a champion. Act like it.
Oh, fucking hell, Tom Hawkins. Boo-boo, I got a sore throat. Wah, wah, wah. How about you start kicking goals, you big fuck? Get out there, boys. Grab that Sheridan. Go in there hard with your heart in your hands and win that fucking Sheridan for Mr. Parker. Go and win that big fucking trophy, boys.
Oh, shit. Far out. There's not... Look, Zave, I don't know about you boys, but like if I was playing in the grand final and I had that speech at half time or three-quarter time,
That's
I'd
real hair on the back of your neck.
I'd run
really
through a brick
standing
wall.
up.
I'd run through a brick wall.
Loans,
I'm about to run through it.
mate, what's the living arrangement, Loans?
There goes me voice.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate. Look, Elliot, that was above and beyond, as always. You're an absolute superstar, mate. We cannot thank you enough for making a guest appearance on the List Cloggers Grand Final show. You're a friend of the show. You're a friend of ours. You're a friend of everyone's. Mate, where can we find you and what's coming up for yourself? Anything to promote?
Oh, mate, yeah, look, obviously, follow me on social media, just Elliot_Loney on Instagram or just Elliot Loney on the socials. And, yeah, just I'm still doing stand-up just over Zoom, so you can hire me for your corporate events, doing
Zoom
a few
up.
characters. Zoom up if you're interested.
Elliot, thank you so much for your time, mate. We cannot thank you enough. Enjoy the weekend. We cannot wait to get you in studio as soon as we're allowed out of our homes, which would be great. I know Dan is very, very keen to
I am,
to
mate.
get you
No,
in.
I think you also, if anyone who doesn't, I'm sure everyone does know who you are, but if you haven't checked his stuff out online, I haven't laughed harder at your stuff than anything else I've seen. So please do yourself a favour. If you haven't gone and seen him what he does, go check it out. You'll be the best thing you ever do. So
And we'll
thank
have
you so
all
much
the
for coming on, mate.
links in the show notes for all Elliot stuff. So, mate, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Boys, fresh off retirement, we've got this bloke living his best life. He's the man that's travelled all over the world. He doesn't have a home. He lives in every state. And gee whiz, he's given the last month a bit of a shake-up. It's our friend. It's the people's friend. It's Tommy Sheridan. Tommy, welcome to the List Cloggers podcast.
How are you, boys?
Boys, one thing that we could all do quite well was make friends. The other thing that you don't do in footy is you've got to play footy as well. But you can sort of the definition of a list clogger is having a good time while you're at the club. And Tommy was a definition of having a good time. And mate, it's sad because obviously retirement's come and you should be getting all the accolades you deserve. It was absolutely incredible. I'm not sure if you're watching the Brownlow, but you got about a millisecond on the retirements video.
Airtime.
You got an airtime in the retirements. Yeah, it was a beautiful goal there
Huge.
at the Subiaco Oval. Absolutely stunning goal. But the one disappointing thing, boys, this weekend, the grand final where all the greats go around in the car. Tommy, I don't know if are you getting an exception to go around the car in Brisbane and wave off to everyone?
They would not give him that option. They would be. What
I've
time
knocked
you go
him
around?
back. I actually saw the big fella, Big Gill, the other day down in Miami. I've seen him about 8 times. And had to sadly say, I'm sorry, Gil, but I've got a big grand final party in Sydney, so...
And he said, no worries, Tim.
Yeah. I know that you've obviously retired and you had a great career, and obviously you might be familiar with what happened in my career where I pioneered a move where you put it back on the club and say, you know what? It's time for me to go. I'm breaking up with you. So did I maybe dig a pathway for you to walk down and do the same thing?
Jump before you push.
Mate, you got to end it on your terms. I've said that to Dill. I said, I'm out of contract. It's the 4th year in a row. And they're going to cut lists. And I've done 3 cars and 5 hammies. And I just thought, I'll beat them to it. I'll tell them that I've done everything I needed to do in the game. Besides win a flag, I said, boys, I'll beat them to it.
Yeah.
Smart, mate. And there was a lot of sad supporters, a lot of sad people to see you go, mate, but we know you're going to be onto bigger and better things, no doubt.
You have the honest conversation, yeah, exactly right. So it's good to end on my terms because I haven't done much on my terms my whole career. So it was beautiful.
Now, boys, I wish it was all fun and games here, but part of this show is coming on and talking about the grand final. But X, I don't know about you, but I can feel the tension in this podcast because there's a bit of an issue going on between
Dylan and Tommy. You want to talk about it?
Goz and Tommy, and it's about time we aired it because Tommy's been really disappointed about a few actions of Daniel, and to be honest, I can totally understand where he's coming from. I think it's time. It's a bit of kangaroo court. I think we just knock it over and hit it on the head.
Yeah, thanks, Dill. I'll start. Look, Look, Goz is a good man. Actually met him when I was 18. Built like a brick shithouse, and known him since. So I've known him for about 8 years. It's your engagement, and Goz, he couldn't tell me much at the time. Clearly, we knew what show he ended up on, but he said, "Look, Tommy, I'm loving your shades, mate. I'm a real big fan, and I reckon I can really push him." And I was like, "Oh yeah." I go, "What do you mean, mate?" He goes, "I can't tell you, but if you send me a box, I'll have him. I'll have him all over the. I'll have him. I can't actually tell you why." So I was like, "Righto, mate." So I have this conversation with my business partner. You're just trying to survive these days, deal. Like I'm just trying to get somebody.
It's COVID-19.
I'm trying to get some tuna. I think there's crackers upstairs. I'm not sure about the tuna, right? So I'm just trying to put tuna and crackers on the table. And Goz has taken 55 sunnies and said, "I'm going to hand them out to every man and his dog." And I'm thinking,
Big Brother.
And then all of a sudden he doesn't reply to me text for 4 months. I go, I think he's on Big Brother. And he's on Big Brother. I'm thinking, oh, you beautiful human.
Yeah.
What state were you in, Goz?
No, I don't think it was. It mustn't have been sunny up there. Was it not sunny up? Did they not have the sun in Big Brother? Did
No,
they?
there's
Or?
still glare. There's still glare. Regardless, there's
Boys,
glare.
it's 20 every day, and he's not wearing sunnies, and I've sent him 5,000 of them. Oh,
What are they? What are the
You know
sunnies
what's
doing,
happened?
and why were they not worn?
How's this? Oh, now, can I now go back on the rebuttal? Is that the word?
Well,
rebuttal?
yeah, well, that's normally what happens
So I've
in an
taken
argument.
up
Yeah.
these amazing,
Yeah, kangaroo
I've taken
court.
up these amazing Rick Sunnies, which we all love here on the show, and we're very big fans of because they come in lots of great designs, different shapes and colours, and we're very big fans here on the show. So I've taken these up here, and I've said, Big Brother, listen, I've got these sunnies, and I'm trying to help my man out. He's running a business, times are tough, pre-COVID. And Big Brother said, you know what? I'd love to help you out, but I can't let you bring him into the house.
Oh, I've heard it all. I've
So
heard
big-
it.
Hang up.
all.
Big Brother's...
I am Big Brother. You're talking absolute
Big
shit.
Brother's
You
got him.
are.
Big Brother said we
are.
can't do branding because you know what's going to happen? If we get people seeing Rick Sunnies on the Big Brother show, Rick Sunnies going to take over.
Yeah, well, that
But we
was the
need-
aim.
I know
That
it
was the plan.
So the Sunnies are in Big Brother's hands. But
What are you meant to wear? Just on that, Big Brother, like, are you meant to go in there with no branded?
So-
like, you meant to make your own clothes before you go into the house.
no logos, nothing. And with obviously being in the pool, lots of chats happening, lots of facial expressions. They want to see that and edit it into how they can. So Tommy, you're right. I do. I'll get you back to you on that. I'll run a promotional thing on my Instagram page. Obviously, I'm on Big Brother, guys. I've got lots of followers. We'll get you up and running, mate. We don't want you eating crackers and tuna, mate. So
Yeah,
that is fair.
And
while
today
we're
as
in-
well, what we will do as well, Daniel and Xavier, is we will give a big shout out to our friends at Rick's Eyewear. And Tommy, the good man he is, and he's got a heart full of gold. He
won't
cannot
do.
stop giving, even though you've burnt him
I've
sideways.
heard
He wants
him.
to give a discount code to all our listeners, our beautiful listeners,
huge.
beautiful watchers.
Ooh, tasty.
List Cloggers code at the Rick's checkout, and that'll be in the show notes.
Huge.
Yeah, Tommy, we are grand final time, mate. This is the grand final show, as much as we forgot about it. Can you please just give us a little bit of insight? You're the last player here out of the game, so you've got to very in touch with what's happening in the season. Give us your winner, your Norm Smith, and how many points will it be?
yeah, exactly
Let's
right.
go.
You're right, Dill. I'm the last bloke to play the game, so respect me. Look, great friends with Simon Lloyd, runs the football club at Geelong. I think I've got to support them. But then on the other hand, big fans of some boys at Richmond. I'm really torn. I didn't see this one coming. Lockie Neal, obviously a good man of the Dylan Friends podcast, as well as he'll be on List Cloggers as well, even though he doesn't clog them. He looks after them. I didn't see this one coming. I think, I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm going to sit in the fence. Maybe Geelong. I think it's Geelong's time. But, I just don't know. I don't know, boys. What do you think, X? I'm really struggling to pick one. I think I will flip a coin on the day.
I feel like I'm watching Elliot deliver a Tom Sheridan speech.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
I've gone the Cats, mate. I've gone the Cats. I hope Hawkins is not too sick, though. That's my only little concern. Without him, they're no chance.
Well, Tommy, thanks for that riveting insight on the grand final, mate. We'll
So
put all
in-depth,
sleep
it was
tonight
great.
and feel a lot better about what's happening with the game.
He's a big fan of the list manager
that's
for
what we
Geelong.
got.
Stevie Wells.
And he knows Lockie Neal.
Coach's director. don't it?
Yeah. Lloyd,
From Freo.
Yeah.
From Freo.
Coach, and he did a great job. 9 years, 82 games. Great job. So big shout out to Simon.
Hey, not taking the piss, mate. Congratulations, actually, on your time, mate. Fucking huge.
It's a huge effort, but it's good to unwind, and I'm looking forward to linking up with you boys and having a few beers. That's why I retired. Good. Thanks for having me, boys.
Well done. Thank you, Trino. Well done.
All right, guys, you've bought in Rick's eyewear and Tommy Sheridan, who, I mean, he probably had a couple of minutes longer than he deserved. But
No, we couldn't get him off, to be honest. It was actually
He's going to go.
he couldn't.
wrap
He wouldn't let him
it
go.
up, Tommy.
Making out he's killing it on the Gold Coast. Obviously, no one wants to fucking see him because he's stuck with us for about 4 or 5 minutes too long. But I want to move from an actual traditional list clogger to a successful list clogger. I still want to flog. I just want to get him. If I ever catch this bloke, I'm going to get my hands on him. Sydney Swans premiership player, Alex Johnson. G'day, mate. How you going?
Not too bad, mate. You summed it up pretty well, I reckon.
Oh, no, I still remember. Actually. You wouldn't even remember this. I could tell you where you were. I reckon it was a Wednesday night after you beat us in 2012. You were at the pub in Hawthorn, and it's...
The Hawthorn Hotel. It was a Tuesday night, actually. I was there.
Oh,
and I remember it very well.
There's still that, guys. I can feel a lot.
Mustn't all have-
I don't
has
know
the
what's
tension
going
here.
on tonight. Because, guys, you and I have had
It's
some
tense.
tiffs.
Yeah.
You and Tommy have had some tiffs, and now Xavier
And now we've got another
and
tiff.
AJ
Yeah.
are just not happy. There's some things going on here because
neither
obviously the
club's on here.
2012 grand final, Hawks versus Sydney, AJ has just broken your heart.
I tore it
Is
out.
this the first sort of chat since then?
No, I remember running to a Tuesday night at the hotel or
Cheers.
whatever. But no, it wasn't Cheers. What was it
It
called?
was
Alex?
Cheers after. It's a Hawthorn Hotel. It's actually
the
sadly
buddy-
just
the-
closed down.
There you go. Yeah, the Hawthorn Hotel. And I remember, how old were you? 19?
Yeah, just 20, so, yeah.
Hardly a hair on it, and breaking men's dreams. I could not believe it, mate. How you been?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a long time since then. It's all gone downhill since then too. Tuesday nights at the Hawthorn.
Oh,
That's sort of the peak of things, I reckon.
Oh, mate,
guys-
that's one thing that, look, you're not a list clogger at all, but one thing that is common in list clogging ability is peaking early. And I know I probably peaked when I was about 15. But, mate, the reason we've got you on today is not because of that. It's because you are a premiership player, and no man plays better on the big stage, honestly. And I'm not just saying this, and we were chatting about this off air earlier, and Goz. AJ does not AJ does not muck around on the MCG. His game he played as a 19-year-old was honestly nearly a Norm Smith medalist.
Mr. Finals, they call him.
Yeah,
They do.
I don't know about that. I think my performance has gotten better over the years, but yeah, I mean it was a good day. I was rapt to be a part of it, and it was huge.
Mate, what's the
Huge result,
memories
man.
of the actual game?
Not much, to be honest. I just know the lead up sort of super exciting. You're sort of out of the bubble a little bit in Sydney in the first part of the week, and then you come down and obviously the parade and all of those things, and then the day itself. I mean, it couldn't have panned out better for us, really. Apologies to Xavier again, but it was one of those things where we were heavy underdogs going in, but we got everything right, and it's the best day of my life by a mile.
AJ, am I right in saying, and this is how I felt personally through a few of them, that the anxieties and stuff are generally the week leading towards the prelim, and then the actual grand final week is excitement. You got crowds at Sydney, you've got the parade, you got your family buddy gushing over you, everyone getting involved here. Grand final week, it's not anxiety, it's a great deal of excitement, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was for us as well in terms of we went over to Adelaide in our qualifying final and got over the line there and sort of had a week off, so it's a bit different to what you usually would, and had a few waters after the game on that night because we had a couple of weeks off leading into the prelim. So yeah, that was just sort of, and I was a young kid just sort of taking it all in, I suppose. But the anxiety around the prelim was huge. We hadn't beaten Collingwood at ANZ up there for years, so to come out and win that, and then as you said, after that week, it's just you're on cloud nine. You just sort of think it's going to be the best week of your life, and I mean, a lot of the time for guys it doesn't turn out, but I was lucky enough to be on the right side of it.
That you were, my friend. That you were. But we were chatting, and I love this story that you tell because it's a very exciting one, and I suppose you can give some insight to the fans, and I suppose to all the guys listening because they're going to be going through this week. Every player in the grand final is listening to this podcast at the moment, and they're thinking, what do I do? What do I expect? That's why we've got AJ on to teach them what to expect in a grand final. One thing that I suppose you want to do, and you want to be feeling good leading into a grand final, and a part of that is a grand final parade. You want to be, feeling good. You want the car to go well. You want to be matched next to someone. For you, it wasn't quite the case. What happened in your scenario?
Yeah, it is an interesting one. As you said, it's every kid's dream to be on involved in the grand final, and grand final parade's one of those things. I distinctly remember on the bus, we'd had a little captain's run at the MCG. Everyone's sort of feeling good. The weather wasn't great in Melbourne, which it can tend to be. It started raining. But I'll never forget, we were on the bus and Mike Pike was having a chat to the team manager, and I was sort of towards the back thinking, I wonder what he's talking about. Anyway, I went up to the team manager and said, what was that about? Because I'd known that I was going to be riding in the car with Mike Pike. Anyway, he obviously couldn't stand me. I don't know what had happened previously in our relationship, but the team manager was on the phone to the AFL officials getting the cars changed. And
he didn't like you.
He didn't like
me. No, we're very different people, me and Mike. Get along very well nowadays.
You're 19. What have you done at 19 for a bloke to hate you?
I've hated some, your teammates you've had, but grand final parade, surely you just put that behind you. This bloke's gone and just tried to get away from AJ.
It's amazing. Anyway, you know that team chemistry is a huge thing. It could have absolutely thrown a spanner in the works for us and really disrupted it. I thought it was the best thing since Christmas. I thought it was brilliant. I was just going to tag him for the rest of the day. So I did. I went and sat on his lap on the bus on the way to get to the cars. We get there. The AFL officials are taking his name off my car and putting it on another one. I ended up sitting with Dan Hanbury, a great mate of mine. So it worked out, but just amazing.
Are you serious? You actually got removed from the car.
Yeah.
It's meant to be the best, 15 minutes. Two of mine, Dylan Goz, I had Tom Murphy who'd just been dropped. So he wasn't even playing, so he was furious. And Matt Rosa, who was nominated sub 5 minutes before we got in the car, so he was furious as well. But I got removed from the car from a teammate.
Also, I don't know if you've heard, you probably have after listening to a couple episodes of List Cloggers, I've got a desk and a lot of info comes across this desk and I've got to work out what's true and what's not true. Now, after you win a premiership, obviously you get a medal. And all the players, they wear this medal around their necks for the weeks after. Now, did you lose this medal at some point? After you've just won a prestigious thing in your life?
It is. There's a story to this, but it's one of those things that you probably wear it for a few weeks. But seeing as I went down with a knee injury and then didn't play for 6 years, I wore the medal for 6 years. At any opportunity I could get. Yeah, there was one night, it would have been a few years after actually, and a great mate, Tommy Mitchell, we were all back at my house. It had been a bit of carry on a weekend in the off season, we'll say. And Tommy's like, I don't know, he wanted to get the medal out. Next thing I know, the medal's gone missing, and I'm furious. We're going into the early hours of the morning here, and we're all, well on our way. I send a search party out for the medal. I don't know where it's gone. Out of the apartment in Sydney, down the street, everywhere. About an hour and a half later, I reach into my back pocket, and there it is.
No.
Did Tom Mitchell play? He didn't, did he?
No, he didn't play.
No, he didn't play. Yeah.
No, he's done everything else in the game, but that's one thing that I've still got over him, as well as a little bit of hair, so it's good.
I really need to revert back to Mike Pike.
Xavier's absolutely rattled by this.
Still rattled by it.
Mate, I cannot fathom what the fuck you did for him to make a complaint to a team manager. I mean, what's the Sydney Swan slogan? Best mates and unfortunately,
live by the swan, die by the swan.
No dickhead policy. And I'm lucky enough to know a few of you guys, and you've been removed from a car. Couldn't you just sit there and just shut up for 30 minutes? Can you remember an instance when you're 18 or something, you fought him or pissed on him, or what did you do to rap? I could not think of anything to be removed from a car. What did you possibly do to be removed from a grand final parade?
Yeah, at the time I couldn't believe it. I just thought, I'm just going to go about it how I always know, and just got even louder around him. Ironically, he was the first person when the siren went, I hugged, and that's pretty ironic the fact that happened.
You didn't have the advice of Campbell Brown.
Well,
so Campbell Brown, AJ, before 08 said, we'll beat Geelong. Don't worry about that. So without 3 minutes to go, find your best mates and just get cheap stats or whatever. But make sure when the siren goes, that's who you're hugging, because there's cameramen everywhere. Yeah. And you'll get the best photo of your life and it'll go on a wall forever. You've hugged the bloke first off who didn't actually want you in the team.
Kick you off. No. Kick you out.
But in saying that, I have seen an incredible I remember that game like it was yesterday. I think I was even there because obviously big fan of AJ for a long time, and we've actually very big fan. But he was actually, correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, you were the one celebrating with Malcheski after the goal.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's got one of the most famous photos there.
Oh,
you gave the handball. Yeah, so he gave the handball.
For a handball.
Hoping to finish
hoping
himself.
for a handball. Yeah,
that's
you
right.
were just like,
We would've
Malcheski's
lost
kicked
then.
it, and you're just sitting there like flat-footed, just like waiting for a handball, like behind, like 10 metres behind.
That's it. I only kicked one goal in my career. I wanted to add to the tally.
AJ, mate, you're still heavily involved in footy now. With your expert opinion, which is better than our three, this weekend, who's your tip to win? Who's a tip for the Norm Smith? What's the margin? And any other stats you'd like to throw in? We're more than happy to hear them.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously been a strange year of footy, but look, Richmond's been unbelievable in this sort of second half, and they've done bloody well to get where they are, and I think they'll win it. In terms of, it could be a blowout. You never know. Sort of Geelong have played really well for the last couple of weeks, whether they've sort of played their grand final already, but in saying that, Richmond sort of did last week as well, but I think their experience is unbelievable. They play a pretty impressive brand of footy, so yeah, I'd say they get it done, and yeah, you sort of can't go past someone like Dusty to win the Norm Smith, but maybe an outsider, Shai Bolton, he's been unbelievable. If he goes into the midfield and has the impact he has been, he could do anything. So yeah, I reckon that, but I think it'll be Richmond by a few goals. It'll be pretty comfortable.
We've all wanting to give AJ pump, but in all seriousness, one of the most respected blokes I've ever come across in the AFL. There's not one person who's got a bad word to say about this great man, and looking forward to catching up very soon at the List Cloggers grand final party. We'll say Christmas.
AGM.
We'll say Christmas party, AGM. We'll say AGM meeting.
Yeah, we'll
as soon as we're allowed out.
Because the
Maybe
AGM's
we can go to a
flexible.
pub.
Yeah, that'd be nice. AJ, thank you so much for your time, my friend. Enjoy grand final day. We'll chat to you soon. Stay well, and we love you.
No worries. Thanks for having me, boys.
Good on you, mate, and still get fucked for 2012.
Gee whiz, boys, we've really outdone ourselves tonight. The calibre of guests that have come on the show, mainly Elliot Loney and Alex Johnson. It was incredible.
And that 8-minute commercial we ran for Rick's Eyewear.
That was pretty good too. We do love our good mate Tommy there. But to wrap up, boys, we've been through our tips. But Zave, starting with you, I want your Norm Smith. I want the margin. I want your Sunday headline, so that's what's going to be read in the papers on Sunday, and also one random prediction in the game that might happen.
Geelong, Dangerfield, he'll play in the midfield. He won't play forward because he's more of a midfielder than forward, so he'll play forward. He'll win the Norm Smith. Headline will be, God beats COVID. Okay, so that's the headline.
Just explain that, because I have no idea what you're talking about with that.
Well, okay, so Gary Ablett, God.
Yeah.
So God beats the COVID season. So he's retired.
Okay.
The last day will be God beats
You've done
COVID, the whole
holistic
season.
view there. Okay.
That makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah, and the photo will probably be Gaz sitting in the centre circle with the Premiership Cup with his legs crossed. Just throwing it out there. And a random prediction will be Hawkins will wear a falcon on a lead because the ball will be dewy.
Love that.
Okay, so he's coming out on a lead. Danger will kick one of his missile flat punt mongrels. And Hawkins will just be like, what the fuck? And it'll hit him in the face.
Huge. It
won't be going for Hawkins either. He'll be going for the fat side Mitch Duncan kick. It's just going to.
Hawk will be running off. Hawk will be going to the bench. What the fuck? I've been hit by a hornet.
Daniel.
All right, Tigers. Big Tigers by 42.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
shit,
going
Snots.
big. I'm with you on how I don't think Cats, I don't think they rock up. I think they've done as well as they can. I'm buying more into that. So that's me at the moment.
Deep down, I reckon it could happen. I reckon it could happen where we go, they just didn't show up.
I think so. So them, I think Dusty will run right again for Norm. The headline, Gorringe found drunk in tree on Punt Road. I think I'm going to release myself off a big day. We got Cox played into the granny. I could be anywhere. I know there are restrictions, but I could wander. We don't know. And random thing that'll happen.
Sorry, go again. What was the headline?
Orange found drunk in tree on Punt Road.
With stuffed tiger in ass.
With tiger in anus. And I think that the random thing will happen. I'm thinking the lights will go out mid-game.
Ooh.
Oh, a bit of Super Bowl 2012 when Beyonce took
There's
the
going to be a light
power.
issue. I don't know where it's going to happen, but I think at some point from the coverage, the start of the coverage, to the end of the game, there's going to be some lighting issues.
I like it. Okay.
What do you got,
Mine is Geelong. I reckon Mitch Duncan for Norm Smith. And I reckon it'll be 5 points. Geelong win by 5 points. Sunday headline, Tiggs get dunked on. Because it's Mitch Duncan.
So Duncan wins it.
Wins it.
Oh, no.
He goes from there.
Okay. Can I ask a question about your margin? So it's 5 points. Is it Geelong kick the last goal to get the 5 points? Or it's 11 points back to 5 and the game was sort of teetering
I reckon
for a while?
it's...
He hasn't thought about it. I can
No,
tell
I
you that
haven't.
much
But
right
off the
now.
top of my head, it's going to be 11 points, and then Richmond kick one to get in touch, and then they don't
score,
get the last one. So Geelong
They
hold
press.
on.
They
Geelong
press.
hold on.
Yeah, okay.
My
okay,
random
nice.
prediction is I've got one, but I actually don't think this is too bad of a prediction. So I actually got another one as well. Sorry. Someone or a lot of people, I reckon, are going to swap boots at halftime. And it's going to be noticeable because it gets dewy.
Okay.
But I reckon it's going to be noticeable just in terms of like when I was having a shit game sometimes, I'd be like, maybe I should swap boots. That's not going to change anything. But you just think in your head that it might.
Yeah. I kick it better
Yeah, I kick it better in this boot. Oh, I should have worn this first. But my
less.
big call for this granny is I reckon there's going to be a very big umpiring decision that really that
deliberate.
determines an outcome that's not good.
That's pretty much, that'll happen probably, the way we're going, especially last week.
Very exciting times. As we said, we cannot thank you enough, X, for coming on and spending your night with us. It's been honestly
you, mate.
an absolute treat. Again, it's time for a beer podcast. We'll check that out. So many good guests. I'm actually a guest on there as well, Dan. You're
You
not
are.
yet, but maybe one day you could get there. Thanks for tuning in,
Anytime,
everyone.
mate. Thank
Enjoy
you.
your grand final day. Stay fun, stay healthy, stay safe, stay home. If you're in Victoria, we've got to stick to this together, and we'll be out and about soon. We'll all be together. We can all start having some fun. So thanks so much. Have a good grand final day. Daniel drives a manual. See you next week.
See you next week.
Buckley kicked one from 50 last week and he's missed the start. He's celebrating a point.
Jackie Chan returns. Gorringe is